What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division video. I was running around with my rainbow build farming some levels, and I thought, you know what, I'll make a video on it because it's a rainbow build and everyone hates on rainbows. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. So as you can see, I'm on heroic. I am on all 5 directives. As of right now, we're on triple XP. If you didn't know, because you've been living under a rock, head into your menu, you'll see you're on triple XP, and there is the bar for how much you've got left. But you can pretty much do anything now, whatever's the quickest, and it will give you a ton of XP. Now, obviously, running heroic 5 directives is going to net you the most, but it might not necessarily be the most efficient. So you've got to think about that as well. Is this the resource convoy? So the aim with this is that you just kind of sit in cover and let all the skills do the work. I think the resource convoy is further down. Yeah, it's there. So this is typical. It's going to make it more difficult now because they're aware that I'm coming. But we'll hopefully be able to demo the build. Whoa, hello, mate. Didn't know he was there. But as long as you get some stacks on the bad guys, then they'll just die. You can just kind of sit back, relax, and watch them get the bleed on. And that bleed's so powerful and lasts for so long, you really just don't have to do anything at all. So let's find out where they are now. Where they're going to spawn from, around the corner. So we'll just kind of get that out of there. And we'll sit behind this car now, and hopefully I can show you what's going to happen a little bit better. Didn't spread over there, but we can do this. Get this bleed on. And, you know, let's just avoid him. Obviously you would kill him, but you can see it just absolutely chunks away at them. You can, I have the pulse on for black tusk purposes, but you know, it depends on what you're fighting at the time. But we can just sit here now and not even having to use the skills because we don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about ammo, we don't have to worry about cool skills. You know, they can hide all day. This is very much a chill build though, by the way. Like, obviously you could be using determined and sat, you know, running around sweating. Please die. And this is a great example because they're really not attacking. They're just kind of like sitting back, big chilling. So let's just put them on there like that. And we'll sit back here again, and they'll just kind of die. They get so bothered about all the, you know, the bleed and the skills and everything else that's on them that they run around. They don't really shoot at us too much, you know. But you really can just kind of chill out and not have to worry about anything. And yeah, it makes for a really easy build. And it's a rainbow build, which is, you know, weird. So let's go back to the base of operations and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And I've kind of built for every scenario in this as well. So this kind of suits people that like having a bit more defense. It suits people that like to use skills. It suits people that like to shoot. You know, you can use it in a variety of ways, which is pretty crazy. So here it is, the rainbow monstrosity itself. Now, the only reason I'm using gunner, you can use other specializations if you want to with this to make the burn a bit better or make the burn last longer or anything like that. If you end up using a fire skill. But I used it for the armor on kill, right? A little bit of armor back is never going to do anything wrong. And, you know, obviously we're killing a lot of enemies, so it's kind of nice to have some survivability. But you also don't have to run the jammer pulse. You could run a heal here if you wanted to, especially if you're not going to be up against Black Tusk and any robots or anything like that. Then you could just run a heal there because all you really need is the Stinger Hive to apply bleed at the very start of the, you know, kind of the first time you do anything, because once you've got the bleed bullets in your gun, you never need to use it ever again. It's just there for an absolute option if you want to. And you could always go into the range in the base of operations, proc the bleed bullets from the rip, and then again never need them ever again. And therefore you don't have to even worry about ammo either, which allows us to run heroic all 5 directives. Running the pestilence because the, you know, the theme of the build is tick damage. Get it? DJ Tickle, tick damage. And we can basically apply that onto them as well. It doesn't count as a status effect. It's not going to apply, you know, the bleed and stuff and things like that. But again, it's more damage just why they, them elites sit in cover and they just die and they get all a bit antsy and they're like, oh, I've got something on me, I need to move. Again, making your life even easier. If you can pump some extra weapon damage into it, that will increase the damage of Plague of the Outcasts. So it's definitely worth doing. I run mine with damage to target out of cover and damage to armor. It's not an all red build this. We potentially could look at running maybe crit chance here or rate of fire that might actually do more DPS, but we're not doing that kind of DPS. We're not constantly shooting the gun. We're just really getting some Plague of the Outcast to spread around the enemies. Secondary gun, you can run whatever you want. Offhand, you can again run whatever you want. I have, however, got this on here. I never use it. It was more of a, oh, we've got it, so we could use it. But headshots grant 50% more status effect damage duration for the next one that you apply. I don't use it. It's just a nice. You could also run a gun with it here with the perfect version if you wanted to. Then we're going to run the Vile Mask, which gives us skill tier, status effects, gives us some Has-Pro, and then I've got protection from elites in everywhere else. I don't need anything else in here. I don't need any crit chance. I can't get enough crit chance or crit damage in the build. I suppose you could put some headshot damage on if you're going to run a bit more run and gun with it. But I just went with protection from elites just so I can run the hardest content. And like I said, sit back and just let the damage do the work. We get Toxic Delivery. The game crashed. RIP. And you saw my editor. Alright, so we're back in. So we're with the Vile Mask, and then we've got Toxic Delivery at the bottom. The status effects also applies a damage over time debuff for 10 seconds. That damage is also then applied because we're using the bleed bullets from ongoing directives, so we can just put it on. You also can put it on with your skills if you want to, but it just becomes way easier to just shoot your gun once and apply that damage over time, which is really, really nice. A harder chest piece to kind of get hold of is this Golem chest piece. You can see here I've got status effects because of the one piece bonus that effectively lets them last for longer. The bleed will stay on the enemies for longer, more ticks, more damage. But then I've got the core attributes of weapon damage. Now you could go any core attribute here if you really, really want to. It doesn't have to be weapon damage. I've got more status effects, and again I've got protection from elites. The repair skills could be headshot damage, I guess. For a little bit more weapon damage out of it as well. And then I've gone glass cannon, which really gives the skills a lot of pew pew. But obviously the benefit of running glass cannon in this is that we're going to just sit back and let the enemies die. We're very much big chilling on the couch, having a beer while we're letting the enemies die. We're not too worried about sweating it and running around and doing things as quick as possible. So it allows us to run glass cannon and take advantage of the damage of it while sitting in cover and not having to worry too much. If you do want to shoot with our gun though, we've got plenty of red cores in here, but you could use an electric chest as well if that was a little bit easier for you to farm. Really, all you need is the status effects and glass cannon, and then pick anything else you want. It will be just as effective when it comes to the skills. I only say take the red cores if you're going to be shooting your pesty a little bit more. And then we're just going to run ongoing directive. Let's start with the really rainbow backpack. We get status effects, we get reload speed, which is nice. And then we get the hollow point ammo. So obviously we need to use the bleed from the skills at the beginning to get the first clip of hollow point, but then it will constantly refresh because we're constantly applying it. But killing a marked enemy grants the full clip of hollow point ammo for the effective weapon and half a clip for any agents that might be with you, because this build will work in a group as well. And it gives us 20% amp damage, but then also reapplies the bleed, allowing it to be a constant chain reaction. Weapon damage, status effects, and protection from elites for me. But also, because we're running the backpack, we get the trauma specialist. Increase the duration of your bleed status effects by 50%, and all your bleed damage done by 100%. And that's why bleed becomes so good. That buff is huge and is really, really nice. We then got the gloves. We're just running weapon damage and status effects. The knees, weapon damage and status effects. And the holster, weapon damage and status effects. Skills wise, like I said here, you could run the chem launcher and run a heal. I like to run the jammer pulse just in case we come up against any robots or anything like that. It just makes the Black Tusk a little bit easier. But you can always just shoot the dogs with your pesty. Just be a little bit careful because obviously you're running glass cannon. And then we need the Stinger Hive because it's the easiest way to apply bleed to an enemy to get that ongoing directive buff rolling. And if we need it out in the field, because for some reason you might run out, let's face it, every now and again you might actually run out if things aren't going your way, you always can get that buff straight back on, no messing whatsoever. If you want to have a look at the stats, there's nothing really I need to write home about. We're definitely not looking at anything here. Definitely not looking at anything here either, but I'll just kind of flick through them, and then you can see we've got some armor on kill. If we get down to the skills, we get a little bit of skill haste, 27-second cooldown. We're not too bothered about that. This is where we're really at here. You know, this bleed duration of 16 seconds kills. It's got enough time to kill anything. Huge bleed damage as well. It's really, really good. And it's a rainbow build. It's nuts. But it works really well for big chilling, running really hard content. And if you really, really want to get through that bonus XP right now as quickly as possible, then this might be your way to go. I like it because it's easy, and you can always drop it down. Don't run heroic. If you know, it makes it even quicker and even easier if you go on to challenging, you know, this build. I have been crashing like no one's business this morning. I have crashed again. Rip, I've been banned. Well, that's going to be it for the video anyway. We were right at the end. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Maybe follow me over on X. I would really appreciate it for all of the latest news quicker than what I managed to get videos out. And consider joining my community Discord. You'll find all the links down below in the description. Thanks for watching, agents. I best go and see if I can get this sorted out, and I will see you in the next one.